Hello, everybody, and either welcome or welcome back to my podcast. As always, if you do like this, please rate, comment, and subscribe. You can find me on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, and YouTube. So, I am back from the Great White Northeast. If you don't follow me on Twitter, and if you've been wondering where I've been for the past couple of days, and why there wasn't a second episode last week, I was up in New Hampshire from Thursday. We got back in last night. I'm recording this on Monday. We got back in Sunday night. We were up at Liberty Forum up in New Hampshire, which before we get too far into this, I do have a couple of thank yous I want to do. I want to thank BJ and Jocelyn Mumford for, first of all, organizing this year's Liberty Forum and for them inviting my husband to speak and graciously allowing me to tag along. And I want to thank Roger Paxton and his wife. If you don't know Roger, he does the Lava Flow podcast. He is the host of that. And him and his wife have been, for the past 2 years, they organized it last year and they're organizing it this year. They are the organizers for PorkFest. Everybody was just super, super nice to us, super cool. And it was really just a really awesome experience. Like, that was the first time I've ever been to a libertarian conference, because sadly there's not a ton of them to go to, and obviously living in Atlanta, except for FeeCon, which I am seriously considering going to this year, going to any of the conferences typically involves travel, so it's not something that I get to do a whole hell of a lot, but it is something I would like to do more of. But yeah, it was just a really cool time, and got to hear some really good speakers. Got to hear Stephen Kinsella talk about private property, of course, and IP, because the man can't speak without talking about either one of those two. The one that I'm really, really, really hoping that they release audio on, because I want to listen to it again and I want to share it with you guys, and maybe if I'm feeling particularly brave one day, I may try to invite Maj Touré onto my show. He did a speech up there at Liberty Forum. He was one of the speakers. And honestly, if you ever have a chance to go listen to this man speak, if he is ever in your town, go listen to him speak. He is so, so good. And I haven't had a chance to sit down and listen to, I know Malice just did an interview with him that I haven't listened to yet, but the speech that he gave at Liberty Forum was just, it was so good. And I want to sit down and listen to it again myself, because he made a lot of really good points as far as messaging and what we need to start doing as a community to try to reach out to people outside of our bubble and try to bring in more people, and how to try to do that. And it was really good. It made me think a lot, and it made me kind of start to think more about a topic that I got asked about a couple of times when I was up there at Liberty Forum, because obviously I am a female, and so the question inevitably comes up as to why aren't there more women in the libertarian movement? And traditionally, that has been a topic that I've kind of shied away from, because it just, I don't particularly like a lot of the things that are said in response to that question. But Touré's speech has got me thinking about how I should really sit down and try to crystallize my thoughts on this and do an episode and maybe try to speak on that. But before we got into our weekly roundup topics, I just wanted to go ahead and do those shout outs and let you guys know where I've been, what I've been doing. And so, yeah, I'm glad we went. We had a really, really good time. Everybody was super cool. It's really kind of cool to watch your husband speak in front of a crowd and do book signings and stuff. It's kind of like, that's my husband. But anyway, moving on to the news of the week and the things that happened while I was absent from you guys. The first story I want to tackle, which was probably the biggest one while I was gone, is the much hyped, much ballyhooed Green New Deal has finally been released out into the world as a actual, policy that can be read and voted on. And I don't know if the voting on thing will ever happen, but so obviously this became quite a huge controversy, and not solely because of the bill itself, because what is contained in the bill is controversial in and of itself, absent what a certain freshman congresswoman has added to this dumpster fire, but what is being proposed in the Green New Deal is, well, here's what is in there, is the idea that within the span of 10 years, we are going to not only have a rail system to replace plane travel, but also, as far as nuclear is concerned, nuclear power is completely taken off the table, and that current nuclear power sites will be decommissioned, which, if you are at all a serious person about talking about moving to green energy and moving away from fossil fuels, if you're taking nuclear off the table, I am not looking at you as a serious person. Like, you're not a fucking serious person, because that, I mean, you can talk about wind, you can talk about solar, that's fine as ancillary power sources, but nuclear has to be on the table. If you want to move away from fossil fuels, you got to put nuclear on the table. So taking that off is just really stupid. The idea also that all buildings in the whole country will either be rebuilt or retrofitted to meet certain new green energy standards. Mind you, all this is supposed to happen within 10 years. Like, we're not talking 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, or even some vague, undefined time. We're talking 10 years. So, again, I can't take that seriously, because how in the fuck would you even begin to do that? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. So, the thing, and there's other proposals in there, but one of the things that I don't think got nearly enough attention, and that's because, honestly, this is a nerdy, esoteric topic, but the idea is that all of this will be funded through MMT, which MMT is modern monetary theory. Just a brief kind of broad overview. If you want to know more drilled down specifics on MMT, Bob Murphy is the guy you need to go visit for that. I know he has done at least one, if not several, episodes with Tom Woods on the Contra Krugman podcast, and I don't know if he's done one on his own podcast yet, specifically on MMT, but big, broad kind of description, especially as it relates to this, is MMT is the idea that currency derives its value from taxation. So, in order to inflate the value of a currency, the government should engage in deficit spending, and then also, on the back end, raise taxes so that if you're tying the value of currency to taxation, like the higher the tax rate, the more currency is valued. Yes, it is an incredibly dumb idea. Like, I'm definitely not endorsing this. It's a freaking ridiculous idea that even Krugman can't get down with this. Even Krugman's like, no, this is a bridge too far. And dude is Keynesian as fuck, and he can't get down with this. But that is the general idea, is that all of this will be funded through deficit spending, which obviously is a massive problem if you are somebody who cares about economic issues and the national economy, because we already have such a huge fucking problem with deficit spending that we cannot do any more deficit spending. In fact, just off of a little side note tangent here, and just as a little fact to keep in your own head, so that next time you see somebody argue this tax rate nonsense, even if you bumped up the tax rates to what the AOC, Elizabeth Warren crowd want to do, the 70% tax on X amount of dollars, or the tippy top tax, or whatever you want to call it, even if they implemented that would not bring in enough money to fund our current obligations, let alone anything else on top of that. So just keep that fact in your mind next time somebody wants to bring up the idea of, let's tax the rich to pay for these new entitlements. Even if you tax the rich right now at 100% across the board, we cannot meet our financial obligations as they stand today. So, anyway, moving back to the Green New Deal. And also kind of another thing that is a problem with the Green New Deal is it's not solely limited to environmental/energy concerns. Like, of course, as with any fucking bill that is trying to be pushed through Congress, there's all kinds of tack-ons for, like, education spending, healthcare funding, anti-discrimination stuff. Like, there's a whole bunch of other bullshit that doesn't belong in there. Like I said, like every bill that tries to go through Congress, people try to attach a little pet cause to it in the hopes of either nobody will notice it's there, or that there will be enough political will to pass the general idea of whatever the bill is supposed to address that your bullshit will make it through too. Anyway, here's where the real controversy came in. Everybody's favorite freshman congresswoman from New York, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, puts up on her official site. Like, I want to go ahead and start making this clear, because the past 48 hours on this has been quite something. Like, I'm a little shocked that they went this far. But anyway, initially, she put up on her site an FAQ about the Green New Deal, clarifying a couple of different points. The most controversial thing that was on her site, as far as clarifying, because UBI is kind of part of it too, and she had included specific verbiage in her FAQ that the UBI part of it would be for people who were unable or unwilling to work. So, everybody took that, ran with it, because she had posted it up on Twitter, and apparently this also got sent out to various members of the media before it went live on her site, so they had copies of this prior to it going live, and then it went live. Obviously, everybody read it, everybody took screenshots, because this is what we do. We take screenshots of everything now, for a very good reason that we will get to. So, everybody loses their shit, obviously, because of the unwilling to work clause in it. So, what happens is a very kind of shifty, shady little bit of nonsense here. It seems to me, from what I've been able to gather, like, okay, the original document went up, and then it was stealth edited to take out the unwilling to work, and then just completely memory hold. Like, if you go on her site right now, it no longer exists. Like, if you try to follow that URL, you will get nowhere. So, that happened. And then, apparently, I have not seen this, but I've been told it exists by other people who have seen it. Somebody also did, like, a mock FAQ talking about, I'm not sure what, because I didn't see the mock FAQ. But there was also parts in the original FAQ about methane and cow farts, and it was just, it got really stupid. Oh, I know what it was. In the mock one, they had put in there that people would have to drink their own pee. I think that's what it was. The cow farting was in the original one, but the pee drinking was part of the mock one. So anyway, here is how Team AOC has decided to handle this situation. She sends, or somebody sends, her quote-unquote policy advisor onto Tucker's show, I believe it was Friday night, to make the argument. And now Tucker is sitting here, he's asking questions. He's reading off of his printouts of the original FAQ as it was posted on her site, and talking about the points that were in the FAQ. And so this dude deadass says with a straight face that what Tucker is reading from, that we all know to be the original FAQ, was fake. Was some kind of Republican little fake jokey thing. I forget exactly. I'm missing the word here, but anyway, you get the idea of what I'm saying. Basically saying that, oh, that's not what it said. Like, what you're reading is fake news. And Tucker, I don't know, because I only watched that one clip. I don't really know what happened before or after, but it seems to me like Tucker bought that excuse, which I'm just sitting there like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, dude, like, this is gaslighting. They have been gaslighting in the most definitive, textbook way that you can use that word gaslighting, I mean it. You're literally telling people you did not read what you think you read. And we all know we did. And so, of course, the screenshots can make their way back to Twitter. Got date stamps, time stamps. Apparently, it was posted from her chief of staff's URL. Like, I'm not quite sure how that works. But, yeah, but that has been their stance this whole fucking time, is that this is all some kind of smear campaign. And not that this is what was actually on the fucking website. And then they wanted to float the idea of, oh, well, that was a draft that got posted by accident, which makes no sense because that original FAQ is also what was sent out to the media prior to it being posted on her site. So you're trying to tell me that you sent out an incorrect draft to the media and posted it to your site? No, you fucking didn't. That did not happen. That absolutely did not happen. And so now we're at this point where you're starting to get these navel-gazing think pieces about how mysterious this whole thing is and what happened. And I'm like, there's nothing fucking mysterious about it. There is nothing mysterious. I will tell you exactly what happened. She put that FAQ out there, or whoever posted it up. I'm sure her personally did not do it. She puts it out there. Everybody loses their shit. And she tries to backpedal and does it in the most ass-backward, ham-fisted way possible. And you're getting called out on it. Like, there's nothing mysterious here. I don't get why people are even remotely giving her the benefit of the doubt here when everybody has fucking screenshots. Everybody saw it. Like, it was up for a good solid, 6-7 hours. And like, how are you going to tell people they didn't read what they read? We all fucking read it. Everybody had screenshots. How are you going to try to play this off like it was some kind of like conservative fake news thing? Like, no, that's actually what you posted on your website. And so that is still where they're at right now. They're still trying to gaslight people. And I'm like, what kind of amateur hour bullshit is this? Like, I can't believe people are falling for it. I cannot believe some people are sitting here thinking, well, gee golly, what happened? It's pretty damn obvious what happened. Like, I don't understand why people are thinking this is some mysterious mystery. No, it's not. You got caught out there. You initially said exactly what you meant. Everybody came at your neck for it, and now you're trying to backpedal, which I would rather you just left it up. Like, if that's really what you mean, and that's in your FAQ, then fuck it, leave it there. I mean, it's such a ridiculous situation. And if this was anybody else, like, and I'm not even saying if this was a Republican, anybody, pick somebody, pick any freshman, any senior senator or congressperson, pick anybody who did some bullshit like this. They would be getting dragged so hard for that right now. In fact, that would pretty much like end a career. Like, this nonsense that's happened over the past 48 hours would end any other politician's career. It won't end hers because people still want to make apologies for her and carry water for her, even though she keeps making stupid mistake after stupid mistake. Like, when do you figure out to stop making stupid mistakes? Like, even today she put out a tweet about how a specific bill had passed the House and was going to the Senate, and it hadn't even been up for a vote yet. Like, get your shit together. You're not a bartender in Queens anymore. You're a congresswoman. Get your shit together. This isn't hard. But people keep making a pass. Like, people just keep giving her passes. It's insane. I don't get it. But that's where we're at with that right now. As far as, like I was saying, whether this Green New Deal will ever see the light of day, I am voting for no, because Nancy Pelosi, I'm developing a strange new respect for this woman. Please send help. But she decided, because they set up a committee to discuss this bill and to, I think it's not necessarily just for this bill, but to discuss energy solutions, stuff like that. I forget the name of the new committee, but she purposely left Ocasio-Cortez off of it. And you can't tell me it wasn't on purpose. Nancy Pelosi has figured out to stay far, far away from this particular nuclear bomb. She might be the smartest person in Congress right now, because she figured out that this is a total stinker, loser, bomb of an idea. And what's so funny is that every Democrat who was running for 2020 endorsed this damn deal before it ever hit. In fact, I don't think there's any who haven't. Correct me if I'm wrong, but all the major players were like, yes, Green New Deal, great idea. And guess what? Now all y'all gotta fucking own it. Not Nancy, though. Nancy said, no, I'm staying way the hell away from that, and I'm keeping her way the hell away from my committee, because I don't want any of that. Nancy's been in this game long enough to know what's what, and she's petty enough. She's just petty enough to do some shit like that, and to keep somebody away just because I don't like you. And this is something that I predicted would happen eventually with this new bumper crop of young congresspeople coming in. Like, Nancy is not going to let anybody steal her show. Like, she's like, this is my party. Like, this is my house. Like, you're not going to come in here and steal my shine. So the whole thing has just been very funny and really stupid in a lot of ways. And yeah, I don't know how you take Ocasio-Cortez seriously as a politician after this, but I know there are people that will, and I don't get it. But moving on. Moving our attention back over to the dumpster fire that is Virginia, it has come out that Justin Fairfax, I know we talked about this last episode about the sexual assault allegation against him. It has come out that another woman has come forward saying that she was also sexually assaulted by Fairfax in college, and her description wasn't quite as graphic as the original one, but she did say that what happened to her is much along the same lines as what happened to the original woman. So, another kind of wrinkle in this one now is we do have a little bit of provenance on this one, because there is an email that is from 2016 where this woman, her name is Meredith Watson, emailed another person, and apparently, I think they both went to Duke, if memory serves, but apparently she was on some mailing list, and email blast went out about Fairfax, and she wrote into the author of the email saying that Fairfax had raped her back in college and that she would just as soon never see anything about him again. So, and basically just saying, like, please take me off this list. Like, I don't want to see any mention of him. But she did point blank say in this email that is date and time stamped from 2016 that Fairfax did rape her in college. So, there's a little bit of proof there on this. So, what to do with this guy now? Nobody seems to know. There were some calls over the weekend and some noises about starting impeachment proceedings on him, although those have seemed to have been squashed. But, like, what now? And pretty much every major prominent Democrat at this point, including all the ones running for 2020, have called on him to resign. As of right now, it does not seem like he plans on resigning. He is asking for due process, which I'm not, like I said last episode, and like I said throughout the whole Kavanaugh debacle, I don't know how you do due process in this particular instance. In fact, the only way I can really think of to do anything that would resemble due process would be an impeachment hearing. It's basically a trial. So outside of that, I don't know what you do. But what has been kind of amusing about the story, not that there's anything funny about women being sexually assaulted, obviously, is it has put the intersectional left in a very, very difficult position for them, because here's the thing. You got Northam, you've got Hammett. They're both white guys, and what they did was dress up in blackface. You've got Fairfax, who is a black man, who has been accused now twice of sexual assault. Who fits in where on the spectrum here? And this is a very real thing that people are trying to parse how to react to this, because Fairfax is a black man, and so they don't want to be seen as piling on to a black man. But you gotta evaluate that dressing up in blackface versus sexual assault. Like, this should really be a no-brainer. Like, it should be pretty obvious in this situation who stays and who goes. And like I said in the last episode, if all three dudes go, the next one up is a Republican. So obviously they don't want that either. So now they have to play this little game of who falls where on the spectrum, and whose crime was worse, and who do we pursue or not pursue based on their race. And it's just, it's funny to watch from the outside, because it's like I said, this should be a no-brainer. Like, honestly, I didn't even really think dressing up in blackface back when you were in med school in the 80s was that big of a fucking deal to begin with. But the fact that you have to sit here and try to parse out which offense is worse because of the respective races of the men involved, that's fucking insane. But it's a thing that they have to do now, and I'm like, this has gone so far off the damn rails. Like, intersectionality is just, I think 2019 and 2020 is going to be the 2 years where there's going to have to be, much like they're having right now, a lot of very, very uncomfortable discussions when you're viewing things through an intersectional lens about who gets punished and who gets left off the hook. I don't know, but this is still obviously a ongoing situation. For what it's worth, nobody is willingly stepping down. Northam's not willingly stepping down. Fairfax isn't willingly stepping down. Hammett isn't willingly stepping down. So, I mean, I don't know what else you do in that situation. And kind of another thing that I think we're going to start seeing more in the next year or two, and I did talk about this when I talked about the Kavanaugh situation, is this idea that if you don't back down, if you don't cave, if you don't withdraw your name from nomination, or you don't resign, or you don't quit your job, or you don't go away, if you're just like, no, fuck you, then what are they going to do? Like, there's really nothing you can do to these men to, like, you can't fire them. They're elected officials. They have to serve out their term, barring resignment or impeachment. I don't know. Nobody seems to have the stomach to open impeachment proceedings on any of this. So then what? Like, okay, you got all pissed off. You came out your neck at people. They refused to leave. So now what do you got? Like, I think a lot of this mob mentality is going to start being exposed as just nonsense bullshit by people who refuse to cave to it. And that's a good thing. Like, obviously I don't think Northam should have resigned over this. Like, that's just insane. What Fairfax does, I mean, we're talking a whole nother ball game here. Like, you've now got multiple accusations of sexual assault that cannot be adjudicated through the criminal system. I don't know what you do with that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. But I'm sure we will be talking about this situation for far into the future, because like I said, everybody's digging in. Nobody seems to quite know what exactly to do about this situation. So, I don't know. If it ends up that all three men keep their jobs, then what the hell does that say? Like, you did all this and nobody lost their job. I don't know. It's going to be amusing. But to move on to the last story I want to cover, and that is Jeff Bezos' dick pic situation. Now, that makes it sound a little funnier than it actually is. Let me try to back up and start at the beginning and explain what the hell is going on, because this news cycle got pushed out by AOC's Green New Deal bullshit, and I'm kind of mad because we could have had fun with dick pics, and no, we had to have dumbassery about FAQs. But here's what happened. And forgive me if I get the dates wrong, because I cannot tell time anymore outside of news cycles, but I think about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, Bezos announced that he was divorcing from his wife, and he also announced his new relationship with a woman named Lauren Sanchez, who apparently there's a whole backstory there. The families knew each other for a long time, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so he announces that he's getting divorced from his wife and starting this new relationship pretty much on the same day. So, as anybody with half a brain can figure out, when you're announcing your divorce and your new relationship at the same time, there was overlap. As much as you may like to say there wasn't, like, Bezos, come on, dude, we see you. Like, you're a billionaire, just charge it to the game, keep it moving. But anyway, so, a couple of weeks ago, the National Enquirer had posted up text messages between the two of them, between Bezos and Sanchez. And, well, what kind of precipitated this particular news cycle is Bezos wrote a blog post on Medium, and it dropped Friday night? Yeah, I believe it was Friday night, detailing that AMI, the parent company of the National Enquirer, basically tried to blackmail Bezos into stopping the investigation into how they got the text messages. Because what Bezos did was, when he found out that the National Enquirer had these text messages, he hired his own personal private investigator to find out how the hell they got these text messages. So he hires this dude. AMI finds out. David Pecker, the CEO of AMI, loses his fucking shit, apparently. Which, I mean, I believe, because you would have to have completely lost your shit to even remotely think that you can do what you tried to do to Jeff fucking Bezos, one of the richest and most powerful men on the planet. Basically tries to blackmail him into stopping this particular investigation. Because Bezos seemed to be under the impression, and I'll link the Medium blog post into the show notes, but Bezos seemed to be under the impression that AMI either got these text messages through the federal government / Trump, because obviously Trump has been very critical of Bezos. Bezos is part owner of the Washington Post, and obviously Trump is not a fan of the Washington Post, not a fan of Bezos. So he was thinking that that National Enquirer, AMI, got these text messages through that avenue, or through a different avenue where, and I'm going to try to keep this all somewhat logical for you guys, because it gets kind of hard to follow. What happened was, after Trump got elected, he invited David Pecker to a special dinner in his honor, and at this dinner, there was another person present who had ties to Saudi royalty. Now, this is kind of important because AMI right now is under an immunity agreement with the Department of Justice related to the Stormy Daniels story. Now, the reason they are in an immunity agreement with that and is part of this at all is it was alleged that the National Enquirer engaged in a practice called catch and kill with the Stormy Daniels story. Now, what that is a publication paying for exclusive rights to a story and then basically sitting on the story that killed it. And it is alleged that AMI did that for the Stormy Daniels story at the behest of Trump. That basically Trump went to Pecker because they're friends. They've been friends for a long time. And they have killed stories for Trump before. So the idea is that Trump went to Pecker and said, kill this story, like catch and kill this story. And that's what happened. So, National Enquirer has a long history of that. So, the idea that seems to be in Bezos' head was that the second avenue of where these text messages could have came from was that they could have came from someone out of Saudi Arabia because of the Jamal Khashoggi situation. Obviously, Khashoggi worked for the Washington Post. The Washington Post has been very critical of the Saudi regime as far as the murder of Khashoggi is concerned. So he was thinking that this was either revenge from Trump or from the Saudis. Okay, keep that in mind. So then AMI starts to try to lean on Bezos to get him to stop his own personal private investigation into where the emails were coming from. And they started using as leverage the fact that they had incriminating photos of Bezos, including one traditional dick pic, and then a couple of dick pic-ish pictures. Like, there was dick, but the dick was not outside of the pants or the underwears. And there were some pictures of Sanchez in provocative poses too. And the idea that they kept going back to was that all of these pictures were taken when Bezos still had his wedding ring on, basically proving that this was an affair and not like I stopped my relationship with my wife and then started one with Lauren. Which, like I said, anybody with half a brain already knew that anyway, so who gives a shit? So they tried to blackmail him to stop this investigation. And lest anybody think that this was some kind of subtle thing, no. Let me read you the email that the dumbasses at AMI sent to Jeff Bezos. And for what it's worth, there's this email, there's another email. Bezos copied and pasted the whole goddamn email into the Medium post. Like, he left in email headers, he left in email addresses, dates, times, everything. There's only one part in one email here where he redacted somebody's phone number. But aside from that, he just copied and pasted. Like, he spilled every bit of tea he could possibly fucking spill on this. He just spilled it everywhere. So, anyway, this email from John Fine, Deputy Counsel, AMI, sent Wednesday, February 6, 2019 at 5:57 p.m. to Martin Singer, who was Mr. DeBecker's attorney, which DeBecker was the personal investigator that Bezos hired to look into this. Subject: Re External. Re Bezos et al. American Media et al. Marty, here are our proposed terms. A full and complete mutual release of all claims that American Media, on the one hand, and Jeff Bezos and Gavin DeBecker, the Bezos parties, on the other hand, may have against each other. A public, mutually agreed upon acknowledgement from the Bezos parties, released through a mutually agreeable news outlet, affirming that they have no knowledge or basis for suggesting that AM's coverage was politically motivated or influenced by political forces, and an agreement that they will cease referring to it as such a possibility. AM agrees not to publish, distribute, share, or describe unpublished text and photos, the unpublished materials. AM affirms that it undertook no electronic eavesdropping in connection with its reporting and has no knowledge of such conduct. The agreement is completely confidential. In the case of a breach of agreement by one or more of the Bezos parties, AM is released from its obligation under the agreement and may publish the unpublished materials. Any other disputes arising out of this agreement shall first be submitted to JAM's mediation in California. Thank you, John, Deputy General Counsel, Media, American Media, LLC. Now, what kind of idiot do you have to be to explicitly write out blackmail terms that clearly in an email to one of the most powerful men on earth? What kind of dumbass do you have to be? Like, this is Jeff Bezos. He's not some random dude. He's a fucking billionaire. He owns Amazon. He owns Whole Foods. He owns part of Washington Post. He owns God knows what other shit. You really think you're going to shake this dude down over some dick pics? Really? And you're dumb enough to write this down in an email and send it to him? I'm sorry. What? Con. Holy shit. But yeah, that email makes it pretty abundantly clear that Bezos is not kidding. Like, they straight up dead ass tried to blackmail him into stopping this particular investigation into where those text messages came from. So, obviously, Bezos posts all this on the internet for everybody to read, everybody to see. Now, this puts AMI in a really, really bad spot. Because, first of all, obviously, you're not blackmailing Bezos. Second of all, when you're already under investigation by the DOJ and you've already entered into an immunity agreement, I don't know, I'm not privy to the verbiage of their immunity agreement with the DOJ. I'm pretty sure this violates it, though. Threatening, I mean, when you're under DOJ investigation and you want to threaten somebody, anybody with blackmail, let alone Jeff Bezos. Like, there's a certain level of hubris there that is just astonishing. It's astonishing. Like, I don't even know what to say to that. Obviously, Jeff Bezos doesn't care at this point. Like, obviously, we all know there's a dick pic of Jeff Bezos out in the universe. Whether it will be made public or not, who knows? Who cares? I mean, if it does, I'll be honest, I'll look at it. Whatever. But it ends up, after all of that, after all this, after this whole kerfuffle, that the source for the text was Lauren Sanchez's brother. Yeah. So basically, you got the information the quote-unquote old-fashioned way, which is somebody close to one of the sources dropped the information in your lap. I do not know what to say to AMI right now, other than you just fucked yourself over nothing. But this whole thing is interesting, and it is newsworthy for two reasons. Neither one of them being Jeff Bezos' dick pic. First off, what the hell was AMI so afraid of in the first place? Like, what were you afraid that Bezos' private investigators were going to find that you were dumb enough to do this shit right here? What the fuck is going on over at AMI? What, the Saudi connection? What's going on here? Because clearly they were afraid of something. And it wasn't that Jeff Bezos would find out that Lauren Sanchez's brother gave them the text messages. Like, no, they thought he was going to find some other shit. And they really didn't want him to find it. So, other people are investigating that right now. So, that will be interesting to see what happens with that. If anything, you know how things are now. It's like, no news cycle can fully sustain any one story for long enough to get to a conclusion. See the Jussie Smollett situation, which we still don't have conclusion on, other than it seems like it was all a lie, but we still, like, everybody just moved on. I don't know. But the second reason why this is a story is this touches on a topic that is starting to be discussed a little more frequently. And that is the idea that the biggest threat to media today in the United States is the media. That if anything does happen with, as far as like 1A stuff, as far as actually like censorship of media, it's not going to be because Trump tweeted about something or the Twitter fact check mob finally got people to acknowledge their mistakes. It's not going to be social media. It's not going to be any of that bullshit. It's going to be through the courts. And Mark Hemingway wrote a great piece over the weekend detailing the Covington Catholic situation. And if you were not aware, Sunderman's parents, I mean, I would have to be his parents, obviously, because he is underage, have sent out letters of intent to pretty much every major news outlet and quite a few prominent journalists that they do intend to sue for libel and defamation on their child's behalf. And this is something that we've seen this before. Like, nobody learned anything from the Gawker situation, which, in brief, basically, the Gawker situation, it's really kind of complicated and a little beyond what we want to talk about here, but what ended up happening, I'll just tell you the conclusion of it. What ended up happening is that a court decided in favor of Hulk Hogan over Gawker Media in a defamation lawsuit to the tune of $100 million, which caused Gawker to shut its doors because they could not pay out $100 million. So, Hemingway's piece centers on the fact that courts are starting to become a little more friendly and sympathetic to plaintiffs who are coming in and suing publications for libel, for defamation, where there is obvious malicious intent. And that is one of the standards that you have to be able to meet to do a libel or defamation lawsuit, is you have to be able to prove that whoever said what they said, first of all, that it was false, and second of all, that they said it maliciously. Like, you can't just sue somebody for mistakenly saying something without, like, there being some kind of intent behind it. Now, as far as the Covington case is concerned, it's going to be very, very difficult for a news outlet or a journalist to argue that they did not say and do what they did without malicious intent. Like, it's pretty obvious the intent was there. So, I'm interested in following these cases to see, first of all, who actually makes it to court, what happens in court, because I really don't know how an outlet or a journalist would beat this case, because it was done maliciously. The same way the Gawker situation went down. It was done maliciously, and the courts decided in the plaintiff's favor to the tune of a lot of fucking money. And so this may end up costing news outlets a lot of fucking money. And so where does that leave them? Like, this is a situation entirely of their own making. Especially, just speaking on the Covington situation, this is entirely of their own making. Like, they did that to themselves. And there has long been a very arrogant, I think, but hubristic approach to doing these sorts of things by publications and by journalists, under the assumption that the First Amendment would protect them. And I am not entirely sure that courts are still going to decide in their favor anymore. And that is something to worry about a bit, because obviously the Covington Catholic situation is pretty much a clear-cut case. Like, it's pretty much like there's a very sympathetic plaintiff. The defendants obviously acted in malice in pushing this story that was ultimately untrue. So you meet those two standards. But what happens when, say, this case is decided in the Sunderman's favor and they get lots and lots of money? Okay. What happens when the next case comes up and it's not so clear? It's not so cut and dried. What the courts decide in those cases could be a very, very detrimental thing to free speech. So I think this is kind of like the Covington Catholic situation, to me, is a lot like the Gawker situation, where, like, viscerally you cheer for the publication getting punished because they deserve it. But if you take a step back and realize the precedent that is setting going forward, that now there is kind of a little more of an open season on publications for libel and defamation suits, that is not necessarily a good thing, because then you start opening the gates to people making lawsuits that are semi to completely frivolous. But obviously, whenever somebody files a lawsuit, like, you still have legal bills to pay, you still have to go to court, you still have to do the things that you have to do, no matter how frivolous the case may be. So I'm not entirely happy about it on those grounds. Like, I wonder if how this would end would be something along the lines of creating I'm trying to think of the best way to easily sum this up, but the concept of a SLAPP lawsuit and anti-SLAPP legislation, which basically anti-SLAPP legislation is the idea that you can't just sue somebody for no damn good reason, simply for the fact that it will cost this other person a lot of money, and so they will do whatever it is you want them to do. Like, you can't use lawsuits as a weapon against another person. I wonder if there will be something along those lines, or I wonder if it would even fit in undercurrent anti-SLAPP legislation, as far as people filing libel and defamation lawsuits against publications or journalists that are clearly meant to be like punitive and to cost somebody enough money to where they either shut up or go away or do the thing that you want them to do. I don't know. It's something I'm going to be watching those cases very closely, because there's on the one hand, I mean, it would be very nice to see people get punished for what they did to this poor kid, but the precedent that it sets, I don't know if it's worth that visceral win. You know what I'm saying? So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. If you did make it this far, as always, thank you. And if you do like this, please rate, comment, and subscribe. You can find me on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, and YouTube. Take care, and until next time.